He didn't get it 7 years ago, but he didn't get it this time, and he won't get it next time. People felt he wouldn't be a good number one.
That is why you call him the Vicar of Bray.
Well, because he always seems to go on, I mean, yes.
Now, Lord Hume emerged very suddenly. Is it your impression that he was genuinely reluctant to take on this job?
I think he was. He didn't want to do it, certainly, unless there was a almost unanimous desire for him to do so. But, of course, the affectation was, and he didn't want it. He did nothing to get it. He just fell into his lap.
Blackpool, the Conservative leadership crisis, the end of the Macmillan era in British politics, and the first days of Sir Alec Douglas-Home. Never before, perhaps, has a tussle for power been played out so much in public. But have all the questions been answered yet? Mr. Randolph Churchill, in his new book, The Fight for the Tory Leadership, gives a distinctive personal account. And George Fitch and I have come down to Mr. Churchill's home in Suffolk to tackle him about it. Mr. Churchill, you say that Mr. Macmillan's first choice as his successor was Lord Hailsham. What's your evidence for this?
Well, I've been very careful not to attribute any sources to my information. But I can only say I know it. And I knew it as far back as the 13th of August, just before I went to America. I always remember the 13th of August as the Battle of Blenheim Day. You would be quite sure that's true.
Why is it that Mr. Macmillan backed Lord Hailsham? You say that Lord Hume backed Lord Hailsham. Then why didn't he get it?
Because there was as much opposition to Lord Hailsham as there was to Mr. Butler, and therefore a compromise candidate had to emerge, and that's what happened.
Why was the opposition?
Well, a lot of the cabinet don't like Lord Hailsham, and a great many Tory MPs don't like Mr. Butler. I don't mean anything personally, but they didn't think they'd make a good Prime Minister. After all, it's a free country, everyone's entitled to their point of view. And I think everyone, when Lord Hume did emerge, felt he was the best selection. He would have emerged sooner if he had indicated he could be drafted at an earlier stage, but it wasn't until the Friday at Blackpool that he told an influential group of backbenchers that he could be drafted if no one else decisively emerged.
Now, wasn't Mr. Macmillan taken by surprise by all this? Do you think that, in fact, he wanted Lord Hailsham to succeed him, say, after the general election?
I don't think, actually. I think on the Monday evening, when he was taken ill, his intention at that time was to go to Blackpool and make the wind-up speech and announce that he was going to fight the general election. And then he was this extraordinary drama of him being taken ill in the early hours of Tuesday, and that same evening, I think, he was carted off to the nursing home.
What comes over in your book is that on the Wednesday, Mr. Macmillan told Lord Hume and Duncan Sands that he didn't think that Lord Hailsham could succeed him now. And yet, poor Lord Hailsham went ahead on the Thursday and renounced his peerage. Did nobody tell him?
Well, I don't think, I can't exactly remember what I wrote on that point, but it was much more that people told Macmillan. They didn't think he could be swung for Hailsham, as he then was, rather than him telling them.
Why do you think that Mr. Butler didn't get it?
Well, because I think there's a general view that he'd not have been a good Prime Minister. And you want to remember the famous phrase, a man who's beaten once can be beaten twice. He didn't get it 7 years ago, but he didn't get it this time, and he won't get it next time.
Was this because of opposition to him going back as far as 1938 and his debating the Munich Agreement in the House of Commons?
I don't think so. I think everybody's really agreed to forget about Munich. For many people got kicks in their gallops on that point. I think it was the general impression he's given of being rather vacillating and indecisive. I think he's a very good number 2, but people felt he wouldn't be a good number 1.
That is why you call him the Vicar of Bray.
Well, because he always seems to go on, I mean, yes.
You don't think that Mr. Butler was badly done by, but he was made Deputy Prime Minister by Macmillan. When Macmillan went into hospital, he was asked to take charge of the government. And yet Macmillan didn't want him to become Prime Minister.
Not at the end he didn't, but he gave him every opportunity in the previous 2 and 3 years to emerge. But he didn't emerge. He didn't get that popular backing in the party, which is essential if a man is to command a majority in the House of Commons and unite the party.
How many people who were supporting Lord Hailsham were doing so to stop Mr. Butler?
Actually, quite a lot.
Were you?
70 or 80%. Well, it certainly was in my mind that, but I would have thought that Lord Hailsham would be a very much better Prime Minister than Mr. Butler. I dare say if I'd known that Lord Hume could be drafted, I might have taken a different view. But I may say Lord Hailsham, Mr. Hogg as he dies, is a lifelong friend of mine. I know him very much better than I knew Lord Hume. But certainly it was very much in my mind that we didn't want to have Mr. Butler.
Now, Lord Hume emerged very suddenly. Is it your impression that he was genuinely reluctant to take on this job?
I think he was. He didn't want to do it, certainly, unless there was a almost unanimous desire for him to do so. But of course, the affectation returned. He didn't want it. He did nothing to get it. It just fell into his lap. But if you've been in politics for 30 years, it'd be ludicrous, I suppose, that anybody would refuse it if offered it. But he's not a man who intrigues or conspires or fights for anything. All his life, he's Cyril Connolly pointed out in his account of Lord Hume at Eton. Everything was sort of given to him as a sort of prize without him ever having to compete for it.
If he were so genuinely reluctant and he did want to see Lord Hailsham as Premier, couldn't he have thrown his support behind Hailsham?
Well, he did behind the scenes, and he assured Lord Hailsham of his support. But when it became apparent that Hailsham couldn't get it, he realized that the responsibility would fall on him. And so he said, well, if there is no one else who can unite the party, and you think I can, well, I suppose I'll have to do it. I think that was the general view he took.
But of course there was opposition to him in those final 24 hours. There was in fact a Stop Hume movement developing, and Lord Hailsham put in a telephone call to Mr. Butler. Wasn't this really rather delayed?
What was delayed?
Lord Hailsham's approach to Mr. Butler.
No, I don't think so at all. Three times post-Blackpool, Hailsham assured Butler that he was prepared to serve under him. The trouble was that the other members of the cabal, Lord Hailsham wasn't a member of the cabal that met that night, but MacLeod and Maudling, they wouldn't unite with Hailsham behind Butler. They each thought with their ludicrous mushroom ambition that they'd get the job themselves somehow. I can't imagine how they thought that.
Why did Lord Hailsham and Mr. Butler decide that Sir Alec Douglas-Home, as he now is, should be stopped from becoming Prime Minister?
Well, you'd have to ask them that. I don't really know. I think they thought he'd be an inadequate Prime Minister. But they've changed their minds since then. At least MacLeod hasn't, but Mr. Hogg has. And Mr. Hogg is an enthusiastic supporter now of Lord Hume, of Sir Alec. Of course, I think it came as a great surprise even to his staunchest admirers, how well he'd shape. I mean, when he came downstairs, I mean, he took to it almost like a duck to water. He had a little trouble in the House of Commons with it, to recapture the feel of the place. He'd never, after all, spoken from the front bench before. But I think he turned out far better than anyone expected.
But of course, if Mr. Butler had said no at that critical period of cabinet making, he could have stopped Lord Hume's own chances. Was it because he was afraid of the Queen calling upon Harold Wilson and the Labour Party to form a government?
I never believed that story. I think he generally saw, I think Butler really made up his mind last summer that he was out of it. However, then when it came unexpectedly open, and his supporters naturally rallied round and said, come on, Rab, have a go, well, no one's going to turn it down. But I think he was always a rather half-hearted runner. So, for that matter, was Maudling.
Do you think that Mr. Maudling did have any real support during this period?
Well, that's one of the weaknesses of my book. I've not been able to find out. But I think the real trouble, as far as I can make out, I haven't got this in my book, I only learned it later, that all his active supporters, who were on the whole the younger Tory MPs, they kept bringing him up and writing to him and telling him how support was growing for him, but he didn't do anything about it. He just treated these reports as situation reports, not calling for action. And of course, you can't do anything in politics without action, unless you're Lord Hume, when it's all done for you.
To me, one disappointment about your book is that you don't tell us why Mr. MacLeod and Mr. Powell refused to serve under Lord Hume.
Well, I gather that next Friday, under the pretense of reviewing my book, Mr. MacLeod has reserved 2 pages to himself in the Spectator, and he's going to tell us what his great point of principle was, which forbade him to serve under Lord Hume. That's the $64,000 question we've all been wanting to know. I don't know the answer.
Mr. Churchill, thank you very much.